At the weekend, I did an amazing interview with someone, Marika. I must get that right, Marika Zwinkels, for my podcast. And she was talking about how she has navigated this absolute wasteland of trying to co parent with someone who is a narcissist. And it really doesn't matter whether we say that they are full narcissist with NPD, whether we just think they're incredibly selfish, or whether they're very high on the narcissistic scale. The fact is that parenting with someone like that, no matter what label you give it, is extremely difficult. So I just wanted to talk about, I get a lot of messages about this. So I wanted to run through with you some of the things that might reassure you. Because if you're dealing with these things, you might think, I am going insane. Why is this so difficult? What on earth is wrong with me? And I thought, if I go through some of the very, very common things that people come across when they're trying to co parent with a narcissist, then maybe you will understand that you are not alone. And yes, it really is this difficult. The thing is, you have to think of it as you have to be the parent. You think that there are two of you. Parenting should be about teamwork. It should be about recognizing that this is difficult. You are role models. And you need to pull together to get stuff done and to set a really good example. Well, when you are co-parenting with a narcissist, not only are you not going to get that kind of support, but literally you are parenting one more child. But it's worse than parenting one more child, because this is a parent who has power, who has authority, who has control. It's an incredibly difficult situation. So yeah, I just wanted to reassure you that if you're dealing with this, you're not alone. And I've actually made some notes for myself, because when I started working on this, there was so much information just pouring out of me. And of course, some of it comes from my own experience as well. So I've made some notes so that I don't miss anything. And really, my motivation and my objective in doing this is just, my heart goes out to anyone who is trying to parent in this situation. And I really just wanted to put some of the information out there so that if you can listen to what I'm saying and you can say, yes, that happens. Thank God it's not just me. I'm not going crazy. I'm not asking for too much. Then I hope that helps you. So let's just have a look at the beginning. And excuse me, yes, I will be referring to my notes because there was so much here. So what can you expect if you're co-parenting with a narcissist, or someone, as we said, someone selfish, or just someone who's very high on the scale and has a lot of narcissistic traits? Remember, they don't have to be NPD diagnosed for this to be very difficult. So here's what I think you can expect: that everything is going to be a trauma. Everything is going to be a drama. There is no peace. There is no control. There is no calm. There's no cooperation. There's no teamwork. And you have to understand that. And fighting to get teamwork is only going to make things worse for you. One of the best things you can do when you recognize this behavior, and I know it's difficult, is very early on recognize that you will have to be the parent. You are the parent here, and actually you are parenting one more very big, overgrown, petulant, demanding, unpredictable child, one more than you thought you were. And worse than that, this person is actually a role model for your children. Your children are looking at this person saying, how should I behave? What does it mean to be an adult? Oh, hello, Jax. We've got Jax joining in here. What does it mean to be an adult? And yeah, what does a father look like, or what does a mother look like? What should I expect from them? So it's very, very difficult. So there's no teamwork, which means that they won't take responsibility for anything. They will probably undermine your requests, and they will make agreements with you for sure. about how things should be done, because obviously you need some kind of, whoever isn't the narcissistic parent in this case knows, "Oh, God, if there's two of them, and sometimes that happens, then heaven help, there's no one in charge, literally, other than people in charge of themselves, which is why it's so impossible for kids need structure, they need safety, security, they need boundaries, they need consistency, they need to know what's allowed and what's not allowed, what they should expect, what's expected of them. And all these things are more difficult to achieve when there is one narcissistic parent, because as you try to put all these things in place, you will get undermined. That's for sure. So there's a failure undermine your requests, a failure to support your joint decisions. You can think that you have a reprieve here. You can talk something through and think that you have jointly discussed something and made a decision and step back in relief, only to discover a very short time, I mean, even minutes or hours later, that actually what you said is being totally dismissed. And then here's where the difficulty comes: when you try and bring up the fact that, oh, surely that's not what we just agreed, you actually could get gaslighted on that, and like, so, no, that's not what we agreed. Or there could be a complete denial, or yeah, just saying that you misunderstood, or that wasn't agreed, or just say, yeah, I know that's what we agreed, but actually it's not important. This dismissal, this total undermining. But the worst thing to be aware of in that is the gaslighting, because then you seriously start to question your own sanity, about what was agreed, what was discussed. Did I really get this wrong? Did I really misunderstand this? And it completely undermines, obviously, your belief in yourself, and your trust in what happened. And the best thing to do is to write these down. I've said this before. So there's a refusal to have any kind of structure, any boundaries, any rules. So there's no certainty. Everything is changeable. You are trying to operate within certain boundaries, within certain rules, and they can be changed at any time. There's complete unpredictability, which leads to chaos and confusion. And we all know that chaos and confusion is the playground of the narcissist. They love this. They have no concern that they are setting up one parent against the children, or that they are involving the children in something very, very toxic as they start to undermine and question you. And obviously to put you down and to question your judgment, your sanity, your need for these rules. And they actually start to make you out to be unreasonable, that you're asking for too much, that there's no need for these things, that this is pointless. They actually have no interest in parenting, because it takes away from them. It takes away from the focus on them, and takes away from their focus on themselves. So they have no interest in parenting, and it means that they're not available to parent. And you could actually find yourself in the situation where you're actually thinking, I would be better off doing this by myself. And you probably look at it and just think, you're not quite certain, but you're looking at it going, surely this would be better, easier by myself. And it's because you know that if you were doing it by yourself, you would know what was happening. You could put rules in place, you could put structure, you would have some certainty, you would have security, you would have things that you could rely on, and so would the children. Plus, if you were on your own, you wouldn't be looking after this big overgrown baby who needs constant appeasement, and who at the same time is trying to undermine you. So they're going to be things like they won't understand the need for consequences. So if you try and put those in place, again, they're going to blame you, saying you're expecting too much, just making you feel crazy, bringing the kids in, pitting them against you. It creates for a very, very unpredictable environment, Plus, they have very unpredictable temperaments. You never know what you're going to get. One minute it could be all fun and laughter, and the next second it's changed, and you don't know why, and the kids don't know why. And then you get this anger, this petulance coming through, this, I don't know, this not quite stamping of feet, but verbal stamping of feet until they get their own way, making everyone feel guilty and uncomfortable and walking on eggshells. And talking of walking on eggshells, of course, there is the need for perfection. Everything has to be their way, a certain way, absolute perfection. And the undermining of anyone who can't achieve that, including the children, a constant criticism. You know, maybe you as a parent are trying to instill self confidence, self esteem, you're trying to encourage and support. And here you will have the narcissistic parent coming in because they have no self awareness, no empathy at all, and just bulldozing their way through, constantly criticizing, taking down, diminishing. And anyone normal would look at this and say, why would you do that to your kids? Why would you do that? But you have to remember that the narcissistic personality has absolute no awareness and no concept of what they are doing and what their role as a parent, or even as a healthy adult is. And that children need security, safety, nourishing, and nurture. All the narcissist sees is this is how it should be, and it's a very definite way. This isn't right, this wasn't done properly, this isn't perfect, and they just dive straight in there. And it's an emotional, what do you call it? It's like an emotional tornado going through that just sweeps everyone off their feet and just leaves them in a disheveled heap, wondering what on earth happened. Um, yeah, very long way from the support that you need as a parent. And of course, it leaves you all walking on eggshells because you have no safety, no security, no certainty. And that in itself leads to anxiety, not just you as the other parent, but within your children, because again, they never know what to expect. And because they're often brought into the scenario where the narcissistic parent will be bringing down the other parent in front of them, now they have no certainty because they don't know which parent to believe. They don't even have an anchor, someone they can rely on, until they get older and they can see what's happening. And of course, sometimes that happens, and sometimes it doesn't. So you've got this extremely destructive behavior. It means that they might agree to certain things, and then all of that changes. Might make plans, and then the plans change, and they don't. Oh, hi, Galen. So the plans might change, and then they don't even tell you, and suddenly you think something's happening, and it's not. And you only realize that it's not when they start talking about something else. Obviously, that's extremely difficult to navigate as well. So be aware of that. And remember that their main consideration is themselves. They have no self-awareness, no concept of how what they say and what they do is impacting, certainly not you as their partner, but their children. They just have no concern over for that at all. So they're very dismissive, and everything revolves around them. So what else can I say here? I think I've covered off on everything on the notes that I made. There's quite a lot there, but I really just hope that, yeah. So it's nice and short and to the point, and I hope that that helps you. And if you are someone and you think that you are co-parenting with a narcissist, I'd love to hear your comments about anything that you think that I might have missed. And also, I hope that maybe if you are in a situation and you are wondering, why is this so hard to parent? Why is it so hard to get anything done? Why is everything so traumatic? Why do I think this would be easier by myself? And please let me know of any kind of other scenarios and questions that you come up with. And maybe you had no idea that you might be trying to co-parent with a narcissist. So even if this is the catalyst for you to start to think about this and to research that further and to look into that, then I just sincerely hope that what I've shared here helps you. There's no way around it. It's very, very difficult. And the way you are going to help yourself best is by understanding it, taking a step back, not being totally Thanks, Gillian. She's saying she's going to share it. That's great. Not reacting, but making sure that you respond, but taking care of yourself as well. Understanding that you're not going insane. You're not asking for too much. Yes, you could be being gaslighted, and looking out for that. Writing stuff down, especially plans and things that you've agreed. I know one of my experiences was that we would agree things about parenting, and I would think that we had some kind of structure and rules and boundaries in place, and by the next day they just weren't being adhered to, and it was always like, oh yeah, I forgot, or oh no, I decided we didn't need that, or oh no, I didn't really agree. Yeah, I know I said that I agreed, but I can't really see the point. It's absolute, yeah, just know, guys, that it's chaos. It's chaos trying to co-parent with someone, whether you're together or not. And I obviously, if you're not together in the same house, it brings up these plus another set of another set of problems, because at least in a situation where you're together, you can have some kind of input, some kind of regulation. But obviously when your children aren't with you, and you don't know what is being said to them, what they're being taught, what the role modeling is, then that's a whole different ball game. But I would encourage you, actually, I don't think we've launched it yet. I think it comes out tomorrow. But that podcast interview with Marika Zwinkels, she had got to grips with this extremely well. She admits she made a lot of mistakes. It was very difficult. It's much easier now. And I will post the link to that podcast, because I think that there was so much goodness and so much knowledge in there. So really, this is just a support and a backup to that. But I would love to see your comments, your questions, your experiences, everything. And please feel free to share this with anyone that might just be grateful to hear this, and it might just save them from thinking, I'm not crazy here. This really is happening. Thank God. Well, almost like we wish it didn't happen to other people, but the feeling that you're not alone, other people are navigating this. Yes, it does exist. And even if your partner tells you that you are going crazy, that you are asking too much, that you don't need these structures and boundaries, you absolutely do. You're on the right path. And please just take strength and courage and take your time to try and navigate this in the best way you can, and get some outside help. Maybe get an outside counselor or a mentor to come in and try and put some boundaries and things in place, at least support you to do that, and to get something written down, so at least you've got something to refer to.